Guys, welcome back to Victory TV presented by Canva. I'm your host, Jake Barkadesh, and as always, joined by Melbourne Victory women's captain, Kayla. We are back. What a big week and big episode we have tonight.
Big week, big episode, but most importantly, it's the best day of the week. We're here Thursday, Victory TV.
We've got it in the calendar. Well, we will start with reviewing our results this week with a point against Brisbane and a statement in the Melbourne Derby win on Saturday night. We'll also look ahead to this week against Newcastle and have a chat to the People's Champ. Yes, he is here, Ivan Kelava. And we'll also be joined by the always entertaining Daniel Georgievski to talk about his time at Victory. So, Kayla, another busy week.
Definitely another busy week. I'm excited for the highlights and the reviews, but I'm most excited for our interviews because we've got some great people on the show.
No, our interviews are starting to get better as well in here. Well, we'll look back at the week that was for our men's side, and after capping off a 4-week block that saw us play 8 matches, the boys continued their 10-match unbeaten streak with an incredible Melbourne Derby win and a point against Brisbane Roar. Let's take a look at the highlights.
You can help your side play out from under pressure, and D'Agostino's got there first. He's kicked the ball out of play, but he has been clattered into by Tom Glover.
Well, if he gets there first, Robbie, D'Agostino I'm talking about, this has to be a penalty.
And he does score. 7 minutes on the clock. And Melbourne Victory, who scored their first penalty of this season, have the lead by a goal to nil. Brimmer steps over. Davidson's ball in. Glover punches only as far as Rojas and sits for him. Oh, Marco Rojas! What a finish! Marco Rojas with an absolutely stunning finish from 25 metres out on the half volley, top corner. Victory 2, City 0. Well, Tony Popovic has set this one up as Jenkinson lets fly from distance, and Ivan Kelava.
Why not?
Rare touch of the football for him, but he does well. Finds Naboo. Overlapping run from Jamison. Naboo still. Oh, that's a great pass for Tilio on his left. The save from Kelava. And that's all it takes. Wonderful play from the Socceroos combining, and Tilio's left foot so close to getting City back in the game. Brimmer with Brillante. Leaves it for Davidson. Davidson's cross. Rojas gets there on his left. Rojas strikes again. Not half an hour played, and Melbourne Victory are providing their own demolition derby against City here this evening. Fulami skipping away, he's one-on-one. He's got Rojas in space. He goes the other way for D'Agostino. Oh, that was close. Making a nuisance of himself, making life difficult for Glover. It's back post, Fulami controls all the time in the world for Guerria. Can be very, very frustrating, very, very long and very tiring as well for all involved as Rojas. It's deflected and off the outside of the netting. And Wellington Phoenix at home to finish the season for City as Davidson. It opens up for him. Match number 6, the final game of the season. It's a big blue, which could be a huge contest for both Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory on the final game of the season.
5 goals in 17 as Jason Davidson burning away. Playing it to Fulami, early ball, and Rojas on the stretch. Almost had his 6th of the season. Would have really presented a problem for Brisbane. Meanwhile, it's Hingett. Lescano. And they snatch something here, Brisbane. Good save from Kelava. It's probably the best opportunity they've had, and it's Brimmer delivering near post to Miranda. And such is the lack of chances in this second half. The closest they've probably come, but they are warming into it now. Davidson has men in the middle. D'Agostino couldn't wrap his boot around it. And and Jordan Holmes, well, now he's injured.
They may have got the stray boot, but this is good build-up from Melbourne victory. You can see Jason Davidson. Yeah, I think it's just a slight stray boot.
And it's Economides. Curling it to Rojas as Guerrier opts to float it in.
On the Harvey Norman replay, we see some fantastic delivery from Rojas. Gets his head up, floats it into a great area. Chris Economides has to do better. He's got free, clean air there to jump at the ball.
Davidson. And floating it towards Guerrier. Just a goal kick off the head of the Victory right fullback.
How good was the derby, Kayla, after everything that's unfolded over the past 2 years? I think Saturday really made a statement to the league, don't you?
Not only to the league, it made a statement to the fans. It made a statement to anyone that doubted us. We are in this and we're coming hard.
Absolutely. And obviously it would have still been better if we could have picked up all 3 points against the Roar, but the result meant our unbeaten streak of 10 games continues, which is pretty remarkable.
It is remarkable. You have to give the boys the benefit of the doubt. They're exhausted. They've played 4 games, but I know they'll have their little rest now and they're going to come back and keep that unbeaten streak alive.
It's almost like the girls' congested period as well. Now the boys are going through a similar experience.
Exactly.
So anyone who knows about it is you. Well, in our streak, we've also notched 4 clean sheets along the way as well. Our longest clean sheet streak in almost 12 years, believe it or not. And one of the men who has been a big part of this, we've been wanting him on the show for ages.
Everyone wants him on the show.
Absolutely. Is the great man, Ivan Kelava. Ivan, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's an absolute honor and pleasure to be with you.
Man, you've been wanted on this show for a long time. You're in all the segments, all the content, so it's good we've got you here. But how's it been the last few weeks, seeing it all come together, especially with the derby win on the weekend?
Yeah, it was unbelievable, and I think the highlight of the whole 4 games was the derby, where we completely beat Melbourne City 3-0. I think we could score even more. We played unbelievable game. Boys did. I have no words to explain how good we did. And yeah, that's it. We want to play even better. We want to compete for the top of the ladder, and that's it.
Look, you're one of the most passionate players that we've ever seen at Victory. Before the game, after the game, you're always giving it 100%. That is why the fans love you. That's why social media loves you. What do you, give that to? Where does that come from?
It's just me. It's who I am, what I'm about. I love the job that I'm doing, if we can call that a job. But since the first day, when I arrived in Melbourne, everyone embraced me with open arms, open hearts, and I feel like I need to give it back because our fans are unbelievable. Everyone around the team, I have no words because they're the best. I never felt like this throughout my career, that I'm loved so much, and I do what I can do to give it back.
Speaking of your career, and we know you've had a fantastic career all over Europe. What has been some of the highlights of that career?
Yeah, first of all, my team where I grew up, and from my city, Dinamo Zagreb, which is the best Croatian team. I came through the youth ranks, became a captain, played Champions League, Europa League with them. Was in a squad for the Croatian national team for Euros 2012. Then obviously made a transfer to one of the best leagues in the world, Serie A, where I played for Udinese. Then I went to Spain. So there is bits and pieces. And now, obviously, the biggest part of my career is where I'm now.
Absolutely.
In Melbourne, be part of this unbelievable club, unbelievable team. I'm just enjoying it and loving it every moment. And
what do you think about Melbourne as a city? I know you guys have such a busy schedule. Have you been able to go out, do anything fun, see the city?
Yeah, I swear, I was at so many events that I wasn't in my whole life. I saw Australian Open, footy games, F1, when my family was here, we went to see kangaroos, koalas, everything. So
Tick off the bucket
Tick off
list
the-
of
yeah,
Australia.
yeah,
Into Australia now.
Yeah.
why, mate?
That's it. Perfect. That's better than Kayla's.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of events. Obviously, every hour game, it's spectacle by itself because of our fans and people who work with us. So yeah, I've seen a lot of Melbourne as a city is just unbelievable. People are so friendly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to help. Also went to see some NPL games. There is a lot of Croatian people here with Croatian heritage and background. So they were all really nice to me. So I can say that I met a lot of amazing people here in Melbourne,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty happy.
Fantastic. Now, I actually have a question just about the derby game to get your mindset as a goalkeeper. You go up 3-0 halftime, you come out in the second half. How do you prepare for that? Because a lot of people could think you could relax. But as a goalkeeper, what's sort of your mentality coming into that?
As a goalkeeper, some games like the City game, it's more about how mentally strong you are than how physically well prepared you are. You need to always be switched on, and I managed to do that. Obviously, boys helped a lot because we didn't let them create any opportunities. So, but boss said at the halftime, like, we need to just stay switched on because they will keep coming. But as a group, we did unbelievable job, and we just limited them to almost nothing.
And obviously, Australia is so far away from Europe. I imagine being away from family is quite tough. How's that been for you?
Yes, Australia is
Australia, yes.
really, really far away. I think it's 15,000 kilometers from my city.
It's a long way.
Yeah, so yeah, I missed my family, my wife and my 3 girls, but we were blessed. They were here for 5 weeks during the Christmas period. They've seen a couple of games also. My oldest one, she watched every game of Melbourne Victory. And for her, the most important one is against Adelaide.
Really?
Yeah, she doesn't like it.
She doesn't like it? Is there a reason why? I mean, Melbourne and Adelaide, there's always
Yeah, I know
rivalry,
it's the original rivalry, but I don't know, but like I can say she was pretty happy how we played against them this
I
season.
think she's born to be a Victory fan.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's rocking her Victory top every game. Yeah. Well, you know, it's a bit difficult, but still in this modern day and age with FaceTime, with WhatsApp video calls, it's not quite the same, but at least you can see their faces and yeah.
Absolutely. So now you've played in a lot of places in Europe at a high level. How does that compare to the setup we have here at Victory? Obviously the league, the stadium, the fans.
What we have, I don't know about the other teams in the A-League, but what we have in Victory is out of this world because we have unbelievable training pitch. We have our gym, our facilities are top class. Every game when we travel like so comfortably. Like you just need to think how you're going to play on the pitch, and that's it, because not so many teams have this what we have here.
Yeah, very special. Well, yeah. Ivan, I tell you what, we had him in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen at home, you must be happy because we finally got the great man here, but we can't thank you enough for coming in and giving us your time. We can talk all day to you.
We could talk all day.
Whenever you want, but I don't know if the people will enjoy it. Our friends will enjoy it. This face is not made for the cameras.
No, that's all good.
Stop it.
We appreciate you coming.
Yes,
No, thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
for having me. It was such a blast.
Is Ivan Kayla, you told me he was a passionate man, and it came out in the interview, didn't it?
Oh, he's amazing. He's not only a good soccer player, it seems like he's a great family man and an even better person. So nice to have him here.
Fan favourite,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, Ivan and the boys will be looking to continue their unbeaten streak up to 11 games on the road this Saturday night as we take on Newcastle at McDonald Jones Stadium, and we'll head into the famous analysis bunker with Systema to look at the tail of the tape between the sides. And Kayla, much like last week, there's not too much separating these two historically.
You're right, Jake. It's always an entertaining fixture when these two sides match up. And I think this week won't be any different with the way the Jets have produced some pretty exciting football going forward and struggling to keep sides out in defense. As you can see, my mate Archie leads the all-time scoring in this fixture, but one man who can change the lead in this list, and as he did in the Derby, Marco can equal Archie's record on Saturday night against the Jets.
Well, there are a couple guarantees in life, death, taxes, and Marco Rojas worldies. Let's take a look at some of his goals against the Jets.
Berisha Lovely layoff. Troisi. Rojas couldn't miss. And all of a sudden, Melbourne Victory looking good here in Geelong.
It is going to be Marco Rojas. Oh, it catches the wall, and in it goes, and Melbourne Victory leads, and it's Rojas again.
Here goes Rojas. Rojas! Oh, that's his best of the season. What a fantastic strike from the Kiwi. Power and precision. Flores holding up his man. Breaks for... Oh, Rojas! So special! What a finish from the little Kiwi.
Galloway. Space inside the box for Rojas. Oh, it's brilliant.
A big thank you to Systema for taking us into the analysis bunker. And Kayla, we've seen some of what Marco had to offer in the past against Newcastle, and he definitely seems like he's getting back to that form.
I think he's 100% back in that form, and we can only hope that he continues to stay in that form as we go on this final run.
I know, we need him scoring goals. Well, another man who knows Newcastle and Melbourne Victory quite well is the man who joins us next on Victory TV. And what a CV it is. 67 games for Melbourne Victory. That included the treble in 2014-15, a Joe Marston medalist in a losing grand final, and not to mention a decorated career in Europe. Daniel Georgievski, I think I couldn't have introduced you any better there.
That was an amazing introduction. You made me almost made me shed a tear.
That's right. Well, actually, we had a very interesting guest just in before, one of our current favourites, a Balkan, of course, and I think you're the OG Balkan funny character of the club. So what do you have to say to that?
His head is much more Balkan than mine, so I'll give it to him, man. But no, I knew Ivan from 2006 when I moved up to Dinamo Zagreb, man, and he's been the same person ever since, man. You guys should be privileged to have a character like him in your team, man. He's an absolute legend.
Absolutely, definitely a fan favourite. Now, all jokes aside, you were obviously a mainstay here at Melbourne Victory through a very successful period. What were some of your favourite moments playing in the blue and white?
Obviously, I will be winning that grand final with Sydney FC. You know, there's been quite a few, to be honest. The old rivalry derbies, the Melbourne derbies. I think, all in all, I think by winning that grand final in Amy Park will be something that I don't think not only myself but any Victory fan will ever forget.
As we mentioned earlier, you were the Joe Marston medalist in a losing grand final. That doesn't happen very often at all, but it's a feat in itself. What do you remember from that day?
Not much, to be honest. I just remember that we didn't win. Look, it was hard to kind of be excited to win an award, but not to win that grand final and to lose on penalties, because it's a team sport. At the end of the day, you have to be selfless, and you want everyone to have that same happiness after a match. And unfortunately, I received this Joe Marsden medal, and I was like, yeah, but I'd actually prefer to win because it was my last match for Victory, as I had already signed for Newcastle Jets for the next year. But look, on an individual, yes, it was a good accolade, but at the same time, I reckon I definitely would have traded that back to win that title again, and leave on a better note than losing it.
Completely understandable. Well, tell us a bit about how you got to Melbourne Victory. I know you are a boy from Western Sydney, but I've also heard it's a fascinating story.
Well, it's funny enough, when I came to Victory, I think after a year, people still thought I was a foreigner, which I can't blame him. I don't think my English was it's not that good now, to be honest.
Well, Ivan said he can't learn English off you, so.
Well, we're trying to get Fade, who only knows swear words, so we'll leave that one for another story. But no, look, I was overseas for 8 years. I spent 6 years in Croatia, where I was teammates with Kelava as well in Dinamo Zagreb Youth, and I managed to captain a club over there called Međimurje in the first division. Some good times, some bad times, but you move forward. I represented Macedonia, and I think then I went to Steaua Bucharest. Obviously, where we won the title 2 years in a row and played Europa League, played Champions League, and I think at the end of it, I was just like, you know what, I want a new challenge. Like my kid from the West, which I would say that had not really much to do with Australia, or you get into the AIS or football news or get into the New South Wales teams or anything like that to go and accomplish that. I just said, you know what, I'm going to go back to Australia and I want to try to win titles, try to be somebody that I did over here, you know what I mean? And it was funny enough, it was out of the blue that an agent called me and he said, Kevin Muscat's going to call you. And to be fair, I had no idea what Melbourne Victory was or any of the teams in the A-League because I would only spend a month of the year in Australia. And I thought, Victory, I go, are they winning or what's the go? And they go, no, that's what the team's called. I went, oh, that's an interesting name, to be fair. But I think after once I got here, and I'd never been to Melbourne before. It was my first time when I landed. But I remember Muskie kept calling me and I said, look, I've been in Europe for 8 years. Give me 48 hours to pack up my life and move it across the world again. And he was calling me every hour. And it kind of annoyed me. I go, do you really want me to come? Because you're kind of annoying me, man. Like, let me pack my suitcase. I'm on the way, mate. Don't worry. Which was, it was good to feel that, the coach actually wanted me that badly, considering that no one in Australia knew anything about me up until that date. So, yeah, I just jumped on a flight, had 2 suitcases, and after 8 years, I can say everything was in those 2 suitcases, and I flew back and I flew down to Australia, and it was about 3-4 weeks before the start of the season and just try to figure out Australian football, which I thought was much more aggressive than what it was because I kept bloody getting yellow cards all the time.
Well, you weren't just remembered for that, don't worry. But now I knew you off the field whilst you were here. I know you created many great friendships that you're still connected to today. Are you able to share any sort of PG stories about some of your time here at Victory that not all of us would know and the listeners?
Was that while I was playing at Victory or just in general?
No, whilst you're playing at Victory.
I'll give you a nice story about with Ivan and I when I first met him. I can say that one's a bit PG, but the rest I think trying to use other words other than swear words would be kind of hard. But no, to be honest, there was a lot of good times, a lot of fun times. When we were in a bit of a slump that second year when we finished 6th, it was a bit hard, especially because we'd won the treble the following season and the FA Cup that year, obviously, and even then it was still good times because we were still trying to be collective, but the results weren't heading our way. But I don't know, we all went out. We all, I guess, had lunch after training together, like a good group of the boys. Jake, you were part of it as well. Yeah, it was just a good bunch of boys, man, and friends that after football or when you move on, you try to hold on to those relationships, and it became effortless. And my wife is from Melbourne, so Melbourne Victory not only gave me good success. I found my wife while I was playing at Victory as well. So I think that's just on top of everything else for life after football. So, I've got a deep thing in my heart with Melbourne Victory, considering not just titles, not just everything. There was a lot of good stories. So yeah, nothing's really coming to memory at the moment, but I would just say just every game was a delight to play with him, and the fans, and I guess a few interesting fans to say the least as well, which is always obviously good and fun times, man.
Well said. Now you're retired, as we know, but you've got your football academy, which is doing really well. But also, we've been seeing your head everywhere as you're part of the broadcast team on Paramount. Now, my lovely friend on the right here, Kayla Morrison, she's just joined the team and helped broadcast last week's Matildas game. Do you have any tips for her?
I'm okay, thank you.
She says she's okay, but I think she might need a couple, Danny.
I think I need to learn from her, to be really honest. Look, my head's not everywhere. I'm not Archie Thompson. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But how are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it, man. Look, it's not as simple as just rocking up to TV and talking, which people would think that's how it is. There's obviously timing. There's obviously a lot of things you have to get to the point, which I guess I'm learning, which I really enjoy doing, and getting your point across, little details like that, which obviously you try to keep your character, you try to keep who you are, but at the same time you follow the rules and you try not to swear, which is probably the hardest thing to be honest, especially being in the football world. But it isn't that hard. There's a lot of lovely people there as well, like Simon Hill, Robbie Thompson, Harper. You learn from the best, and you try to implement it into your way. So word of advice, just be yourself, but at the same time sometimes you can't be yourself because it's a little bit too much for TV sometimes.
Well, Danny, we can't thank you enough for coming on the
Yes,
show.
thank
Championship
you.
player, Joe Master medalist. We appreciate your time, mate, and we'll see you around the club soon.
No, definitely. And I'm not in jail, just so you know. It's just a fence. I was in the car, so I wanted to get out, and obviously I found a nice little tree to sit behind. But it looks like I'm in jail here in Sydney. But it's all good. It's a pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me on, and tell Ivan to continue being that OG of the Balkans over there, man.
We'll pass it on, no doubt. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
Kayla, two absolute cult characters of the Melbourne Victory Football Club, and it was great to catch up with Danny again after some time.
Two amazing people. I think they've deserved that status here. The fans love them, and they've really earned that. So
Absolute characters. Well, that is it for another episode of Victory TV presented by Canva. Don't forget to tune into the boys on the road this Saturday night as they take on Newcastle at McDonald's Jones Stadium. Kickoff for the match is 7:45 with all the action on Network 10 and Paramount Plus. And the next time we'll be home at Amy Park will be for our final match of the regular season on the 29th of April as we face Wellington Phoenix. And finally, make sure you tune into Victory TV on the 28th of April for our final show of the regular season, as we'll be joined by a range of special guests, including our Managing Director, Caroline Carnegie. So, Kayla, we're at the pointy end of the season, and I tell you what, I think this is what all the hard work's for. We can't wait for it.
absolutely. I also cannot wait to have Caroline on the show. That will be an absolute trip. She's an amazing woman, so I'm sure that will have a lot of information. But I'm also just so excited for the boys. They're having a great season, so hopefully we can keep going.
That's it. We want them to follow suit with the girls. Well, from myself, ladies and gentlemen, Jake Barkadesh and Kayla Morrison, we wish you a happy and safe Easter, and that's good night from us.
Good night.